Hello everyone, I'm Game9 and welcome to ranking every Payday 3 heist. This video took way too long to make and I am very sorry. I will try to not be lazy next time. This list was both very easy and very hard to make on certain aspects of it because of how some heists just suck and others are very good. Now, I knew where some were gonna land. I had to put some thought into others, which is not good for me because I play Payday games, so thought is not a good thing for me. Now we're going to be ranking these heists on overkill difficulty and just on, gameplay, music, all the other things that you judge on a heist. So with not much else to say, let's get into number 21. Now this is what I mean by this list is very easy to rank because Cook-Off is easily one of the worst heists in this entire game. The Payday 2 version is better in every way. Now, Cook-Off was an extremely beloved heist in Payday 2, and for many reasons. Like, you could get a lot of XP and money from it. But in Payday 3, the XP is not that great because you have to get all bags, which means staying for an hour cooking 19 bags. And then on top of the fact that on Overkill, you will basically be being swarmed by cops, and you have to have a specific build for this heist, doesn't make it the most enjoyable experience out of all this game. This heist could be good if they fixed how the XP, if they changed the XP system to be per bag instead of all bag. But otherwise, this heist does not really have anything going for it besides the fact you can use it to farm kills for contracts and, the contracts that make you do it. So I'd steer clear of this heist, and not much else and I don't have anything else to really wrap up on Cook-Off, so let's go into number 20. Under the Surface was another very easy pick because of how much this heist just stinks in every capacity. The gameplay loop is not enjoyable in the slightest. The music does not add to the atmosphere at all, and the objectives are extremely tedious. This heist makes me want to actually degrades my joy. Under the Surface, there's only one reason you have to play, and that's for the Shadow painting, but that thing is tedious and it is not an enjoyable heist. Just steer clear of Cook-Off and Under the Surface after you play them for once, and you'll have a pretty good experience. I don't really have much else to wrap on besides the fact that this heist is extremely forgettable, but at least it got rid of the Wi-Fi circles, so it's bearable. Now, let me get started by saying Bank Withdrawal is not all a bad heist, but more so the reason it's put down so low is because of how simple it is. I can't put it higher than other heists that are worse but have more content to offer than Bank Withdrawal. That's not a bad heist. It's a good build testing heist you could use. But Stealth is a nightmare on Overkill. Probably the hardest Overkill heist on Stealth, and then the fact that the final charge can be chaotic, but it's very simple, gets the groove. It does what a smash and grab heist does. You walk in, smash open the vault, and grab all the loot. Easy and simple. So not much else to apply here. So, and I have similar things to say about this heist cousin, Search and Seizure. For similar reasons as Bank Withdrawal, Search and Seizures, that name trips me up, is also down here for just lack of content. Simple, get into the impound lot, steal the drugs, all that stuff. Just, simple gameplay loop, better stealth than loud, but, this is not that much content, but I do like it more than Bank Withdrawal, so I will give it that. And, just simple heist. The smash and grabs function as they intend, beginning heist, easy XP, all that. But I just can't put above heist with with more content to offer than the smash and grab heists. That's just my concluding thoughts on smash and grabs. Yeah. Next up on our list is Shopping Spree. Now, on my list for Shopping Spree in the next two heists, the only real note I put there was lots of cops, because these heists loved it. Because these three heists that I'm going to talk about all love spamming you with cops on loud. And Shopping Spree is one of the guiltiest offenders of this because of how the final charge works. Even if you bring the grand opening favor, which gives you access to all three stores, final charge triggers after the minimum bag loot is required. So you have to go clear 2 stores basically with an endless assault wave. Needless to say, it is a nightmare. the dozer spawns, sniper spawns, cloakers. Naders and techies especially will tear your team apart in later parts. So you either just gotta suck it up and try and push through, or just leave, or just not bring the favorite and only deal with 2 stores, which is more bearable. And just like Shopping Spree could be improved if they just rework the final charge system for that one favor, and just lean back on the cop spawns a bit, because with the lack of cover you get, you should be getting way less cop spawns. And there's a lack of hostage too for certain builds, but other than that, not much else to really say about Shopping Spree. Party Powder also unfortunately suffers from the same problems as Shopping Spree, with the final charge system being the death of the heist, because you can get the final charge without even having all the loot yet. And considering that there's a meth lab where you have to find the ingredients both in stealth and loud, it is a pain. Basically requiring you to either A, sneak around and find ingredients and then just sit there and wait, or B, fight off swarms of cops to get ingredients and get wrecked by by all the enemies I listed during Shopping Spree. So, but the heist itself is just very simple. Go in, grab the cocaine and any other valuables you find, and get out. For a low bag heist, that's pretty good. Pays well. No, this one doesn't pay more than Cook-Off, but something else down the line does, which validates my Cook-Off opinion even more. These 3 Palatucci heists, as I call them, which include Shopping Spree, Party Powder, and one I will talk about in a minute, all suffer from the same cop problem, and it is annoying. If they could just do something about the cop rate, it will become a lot better heist. Devs, please fix. Mad 'cause bad. So that's just my kind of thoughts on Shopping Spree. Not Shopping Spree, Party Powder. So let's move on to the next one. Road Rage is a 3rd heist in the row that has the cop problem. We are on a roll here, with the tight constraints of the armored truck and the movement area and the lack of cover. If you are playing solo like I normally do, you will get mauled to death. And considering the fact that there's just not that many resources, hostages can escape you easily, and the swarms of cops you get on Overkill just amounts for a very tedious experience if you're playing solo. Now, if you're playing with a team, this becomes one of the easiest heists in the game. But I'm talking about solo because that's my experience. And if you're mad about it, make your own list, bub. And I don't really have much else to add here, so I covered all my basic points. So why don't we just move on to the next heist? First World Bank is one of those classic heists that everyone remembers. Unless you didn't play Payday 2, then you wouldn't really figure out it's a classic heist unless you heard Locke's explanation. But either or, that does not change the goal of this heist, which is, of course, money. And I think, honestly, there are some things this version of First World Bank gets right, and some it doesn't. For example, the helicopter escape that you could get in Loud is one of the worst things I've experienced in this game. It is tedious using the forward and back machine to move 21 bags while being able to carry only a couple at a time and throwing them on the zip line and having to go back in the vault. So that. But if you get the van escape, then that just solves all your problems, so you'd really want that. But in addition, stealth, the first half of stealth is incredibly easy because it is basically just public areas and private areas. No real risk of getting caught unless you do something stupid. But as soon as you get to those vault doors, boy, you better not mess up on those lasers because they will get you. But otherwise, not much really changes else in First World Bank besides, stealth is a completely different experience, but Loud basically stays the same. Not very memorable, music's terrible. It's a good heist, but not one I think of often. And so, on to the next one. I will admit, delivery charge would be way lower on this list if it wasn't for stealth coming in to swoop in the day. This is the third Palatucci heist I was talking about earlier, and it suffers from the same cop swarm problem. The difference here is that stealth is a heck of a lot of fun. It reminds me a lot of Shadow Rage from Payday 2. Very just open, warehousey environment, being able to all you have to do is just grab anything valuable, throw it throw in the chutes, and then you're basically done with the heist. That's stealth. You know, like I said, stealth is the only reason this heist got anywhere away from its little brother, one little brother and one older brother. And just I think if you've played Delivery Charge, you just know how simple it is. Not much to commentate on here. So let's wrap it up here and on to the next one. Dirty Ice is another one of those heists that just fall into the very simple category. Whether in stealth or loud, the objective remains the same. Just grab jewels and leave. And if anyone who the helicopter escape with being temporary would be a cool addition the first time through. It got me, but once you play this heist more than once, you just know to wait for the bags and for all the bags to be done scanning, because everyone knows you do scan the bags, and if you don't, you're a wuss. And then you just leave all at once while getting everything. And if you have one of the favors, that just makes your life easier. The one thing I have to complain about here in stealth is the fact that the manager is a pain to deal with if you don't have a distracted manager favor. You basically have a limited time to get everything in the front of the store if you're playing solo, and then she will just up and leave. I do not know why. I mean, I guess it's a cool feature, but it is a pain to deal with in stealth. And so, but the jewelry scanner was a good addition, and it returns later down the line. Some people would kill for jewelry scanners, but I don't have anything else to say, commentate on today. So yeah, post rework Touch of Sky is also very good, I have to say. How they did the rework before the rework, even though it was pretty good still, but the rework just amplified how good it was. It just made it a way better experience, both in stealth and loud, with the addition. And the fact that you could get Mason as a mini dozer boss fight if he gets to the panic room is cool. But let's be real, you're just gonna tie him up. He's gonna be the first guy you tie up, so you rarely get to see that. And there's also the window cleaning platform finally being a useful favor. Because it's like a loot secure area. It's your loot secure and escape area in loud and in stealth. Just overall a way more useful favor than it was before the rework. This heist, I can understand why they give this heist a rework. This is also where they gave all the enemies redesigns, so I guess that's true. Which is unrelated to the heist, but I just wanted to bring that up. Just simple thing. Go into the penthouse, grab the encryption keys. Don't die. I feel off topic, but how do the neighbors feel about this active gunfight happening above their house? But it's Touch the Sky. If you've played it, it's just not that complicated, and not much else to say about it. Got the ranking it did, and yeah. Now, this is the part of the video where the heists get really hard to rank just because of how good they get from here on out. So, the only reason people think heists from here on out get one over the other is off of very small things. And Fear and Greed is on the lower side of it just because of how hard the enemy spawns can get. I know I have been complaining about enemy spawns for a while, but with the build I run, if you get overrun easily, it can really mess up your day. And there's no way to prove that more than A, with you trying to get out of the transfer control room to get more codes, and B, the rooftop escape, which is a final charge, and you have to hold out while they're constantly breaking the transmitter or whatever it's called. But other than those minute flaws, Fear and Greed is a very solid heist that I would recommend. There's not much really else to complain about Fear and Greed. The what's it called? The gimmick is fun. The heist gameplay is interesting. You have Aura stealing from the stock market. It's a very solid DLC heist and a good conclusion to the bad apple. And that's what kind of wraps up my thoughts. So let's move on to number 9. Diamond District is another heist which I have very strong feelings for in a good way. Because I don't know why, but Diamond District really just tickles my brain in a way that makes me like it a whole lot. Whether it's stealth or loud, I can't really find much to complain about it. Well, besides loud and, the enemy spawner 10,000. But that is not what we're here to talk about. I've complained about that enough in this video. That's what we're talking about. But another one thing I would complain is, no, not the jewels. Never mind, because Shade will give you a voice combo, a voice cue about that, and the fact that Diamond District is just a really open heist that just kind of lets you tackle it how you feel like it. Doesn't restrict you like other heists. Just say, hey, here's some jewelry, go get it. I really like Diamond District. I don't know why, but it just really tickles my brain in a fun way. And I don't really have much else to add for Diamond District, but since it's free, I highly recommend it. Like the rest of these heists on these lists, but we have other heists to talk about, so yeah, let's go. Syntax Error yet again was another very hard heist to rank because of just how solid it is. Like, I know I keep glazing these heists, but like I said at the beginning, this is very hard to do. These heists are good. Now, Syntax Error has a lot going for it. Like the server, like has the server rooms you can tackle. The whole, but like the Sins shutdown thing in Loud does take a while, but it does make sense why you would have to do it. So I'm not complaining too much. But stealth, I might just be a skill issue, but that took me way too long to beat stealth for the first time. But it's a solid stealth heist. You can either like mask up, not tackle the server rooms in whatever way you see fit, grab the servers you want and need, and get out. And the fact that you can just bag Sins in this heist as a secret bag was also a nice addition. It's not like other heists like Diamond District, whose technically secret bags, which the Vault would be, is a required bag, which means you don't need it, which is thankful because you need more than one player for it. And might I add, I'm having a stroke. Syntax Error has one of my favorite tracks in the OST, along with other heists like Houston Breakout and Diamond District. It's just really good. Like, the electronic-ness of it just really reminds me a lot of the Payday 2 soundtrack, and it's really solid. Yeah, Syntax Error is a very solid heist. Honestly, before the rework, Turbid Station was not really a good heist in my opinion, but after the rework, Turbid Station easily skyrocketed to one of my favorite heists in the game. The loud portion they added was pretty well crafted if it was bugged at launch, but that's not important. The important thing is that the music slaps and that the heist is pretty easy to understand. They got rid of the whole biometric lock with the time locked car. Thank God, that was annoying to do. But the whole thing with loud is just a pretty solid addition for a stealth only heist. And again, there is some minor details missing, like voice lines for ending it in Loud. The minor things that do not affect the gameplay, but how they went about it is actually pretty solid. Nothing much really changes with how you grab the loot. You just have to grab it under fire. Well, besides the fact you have to hack the locks instead of finding code and keys, which might actually be easier, but who cares? Turbid Station, still a very solid heist, highly recommend. Golden Shark, like Diamond District, also just really tickles my brain in a fun way during Loud. Just something about the atmosphere, the gameplay, just how it runs in Loud just makes it feel really, powerful. Like, you're robbing the equivalent of the bank in this heist in the main campaign, and you really feel it with the gameplay, and all this one being the first one before the No Rest for the Wicked rework to actually use the thermal drill, and it puts it to good use. 2 possible spawns, oxygen, the standard thermal drill Kabarki in this game. But the point is that there's also the part where you have to actually wait for the drill and then get the bags to the roof where there's 3 snipers ready to get you down. But just overall, it's a very solid experience. Stealth is pretty easy, with most stealths that have majority private areas. But that's just nothing to write home about. It still gives you a fun little challenge. And as always, bag moving is always a problem. If you do it with the elevator access favor, which is objectively the correct way, I will not take any further suggestions on that. But yeah, I don't really have much else to add about Golden Shark. Like I said, this was very hard to rank, so I'm sorry if I don't have much to say. But I just really like these heists. Not much to complain about. Like I said, very small things that get over the other. But yeah. That I will admit, the techie hiding spots on this map I still do not fully understand. So, thinking that might just be the fact that I have a skill issue, and that is on me. But we are now going to reach onto our top 5 with a strong starter